Well, everyone, welcome back to chapter 31. Oh, shoot, I didn't do record the thing. Okay. Well, I'll quickly do this off screen. But as you can see, we're seeing the same the brief background that you might have saw on this brief background that you saw on chapter 27. Yeah, I think it's 27. And I'll quickly read the chapter title translated. So 第31章，不应是废公的少女，不应是废公的少女。Yeah, this goes over my head. Translates to the girl who does not abandon the public for privately. Okay, let's continue. 全靠打 IP 开始游戏。Yeah, 我就是传奇。You can't read that. I think that's good. Anyway. Lu Yuan has not actually registered an account on the Steam platform. Man, I feel like my reading is just not at the quality that I want it to be. But as I said before, this is supposed to be a very casual thing. So I'm not really doing quality control. That's for some of my other videos. This is just a casual thing to let out some tension. After all, it needs the certification of independent game producers, and my game hasn't been written a few weeks ago, so how can I plan for it to this point? Lu Yuan roughly scanned the requirements for independent game producers, and it found that it's not as high as it should be. After all, besides the real big game companies, this platform is more studios and simpler independent game producers. Therefore, the required distance can basically be met. And I really like this. No content, well, how does it? He doesn't hold any contempt toward American companies or just basic industry leaders, right? Because Steam is an industry leader. You could have said, it was on WeChat or Alipay or whatnot, but just very unpretentiously, he just chooses an American company, and he doesn't even he may one might argue that he's subtly criticizing some stuff about Steam, but I think pointing out some of these problems is more plot related. So as I said before, you'll see that he's very, very devoid or very neutral, surprisingly for an author, especially with some of his portrayal of black characters, female characters, and other countries as well. Even the pseudo America, which is I think called the Sea Eagle Nation, 海鹰国. Man. So yeah, this is my tone is going to be very, very chill. I don't remember if I read this. Lu Yuan roughly scanned the requirements for independent game producers and found that it's not as high as it should be. After all, besides the no, I read that. Therefore, the required distance can basically be met. Lu Yuan's mouth twitched slightly when he saw the last one. 30% of the platform game sales revenue. In addition, the producer should pay a deposit of 500 yuan for the game. 500,000? Lu Yuan said to himself. That sounds about right. Now you see people criticizing Epic, obviously. And some people are praising Steam over Epic. Because Epic, I think, is owned by China. A lot of criticism comments. But yeah, you'll see that definitely commenting on certain paid things is definitely a specialty innovated by Chinese web novels. Because you don't even see this on RL or Scribblehub. 500,000, Lu Yuan said to himself. He hasn't noticed this at all before. After all, who's the time to read this platform game norms that ordinary people don't pay attention to? The money Lu Yuan now has is basically a little more than 120,000 left for the repayment of the scholarship, plus the 200,000 promised by Zhao Zhenli. Although not has been paid to the bill, the young man will not fall behind. In other words, Lu Yuan actually has $320,000 cash at his disposal. Yuan, actually. Sorry, slip of the tongue. And the cost of making the game itself, in addition to his own salary and the transportation committee's wages, is basically equivalent to electricity expenses. Electricity expenses can be approximately equal to zero. Just pandering and whatnot, but that's fine. After all, Lu Yuan only consumes the power consumption equivalent to a computer for playing games, and the Traffic Commission is responsible for all the excess power. However, the Traffic Commission can accept wireless electromagnetic wave charging, and is energy saving and environmentally friendly and consumes no more than 1 power per day per light bulb. But at the moment, there's a funding gap of at least 180,000 yen. Zhao Junli said if he is short money, he can ask him for it. Of course, Lu Yuan has not forgotten it, but Lu Yuan does not want to ask for that money before the mountains and rivers are exhausted, because there's a loan and a repayment. Although he said he had a close relationship with Zhao Junli, he did not hesitate to be the first to find Zhao Junli to invest in the game, but Lu Yuan did not want Zhao Junli to be the only investor. Many unnecessary things require at least a nominal counterbalancer, and this counterbalancer, in fact, Lu Yuan originally chose Su Mei. But it seems a little inconvenient right now. Lu Yuan looked at his cell phone. Of course, and this is another favorite part of the book that I really liked from character motivation. Lu Yuan's most straightforward and simple method is to use his original disdainful method of letting the traffic physician borrow 200,000 yuan from someone else's account and then return it after the matter is over. However, this will involve the banking system. The security system banking system is almost the strictest in the world. Even the transportation committee can hardly transfer 200,000 gods to their account without leaving any traces, right? Trying to steal a penny from the Federal Reserve or the IRS is a big deal, right? Because if you can steal a penny, you can steal even more. And then they all use the Swift banking system, if I'm not mistaken, courtesy of Keno Bento and various other environmental influences. After all, the transfer itself is a trace. Even if Lu Yuan can really wipe out this trace, there's some things that are not only done, but done. So, once you cross the line, it's hard to go back. The most important thing is that there will be a second time if you do it the first time, such as theft, such as gambling, such as taking drugs. like cheating on exams. And then you see, I love the Internet Water Army. Yeah, that's very true, though. Have I ever cheated on an exam before? Man, am I really that honest? I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I feel like I should have cheated at least once. Like, probably not seriously. Maybe in the 5th grade, maybe? Did I really never cheat in school? Dang. I can't even recall one instance of cheating. I probably did it. I just don't remember. Like, I don't think I've ever cheated on a serious test. Okay, well, I guess. Yeah, I don't want to contemplate too much about that. The prodigal son will not change his money, but Lu Yuan does not want to be a prodigal son. Lu Yuan picked up the phone and took a deep breath. He plans to call Su Mei. Su Mei is the only person in the world who knows his secrets and knows that the problem is not the. Oh shoot. Sorry. System 1. Okay, well, I'll take a quick break, take a drink, and then I'll keep reading. Man, reading's tiring work. Su Mei is the only person in the world who knows his secrets and knows that the problem is not the fictitious bug computer, but Lu Yuan himself. That's revealed in some of the earlier chapters. But because of this, Lu Yuan was able to borrow money from Su Mei as it should. After all, he once saved the entire Skynet, even if it is a little unhappy. But in this case, can Su Mei be included in his investor system as a matter of course? The shortcoming is just to expose to Su Mei in advance that he's playing a certain game that can surprise her. Once Su Mei knew this, then the meaning of the surprise would undoubtedly be greatly reduced. Lu Yuan made up his mind and dialed Su Mei's contact code one by one. Even if he didn't want to do something, his destiny would still put himself there. Lu Yuan thought so. When the teenager dialed the last digit and was about to initiate contact, his own cell phone rang first. I'm so tired. Well, I think it's just because I'm not so energetic. Lu Yuan looked at the phone. His face suddenly became weird, because the note of the call is Su Mei. Lu Yuan can't do the same as Sumei's remarks that he's a perverted stalker, and remarks Sumei as Suno, or little eyebrow, and can only simply remark Sumei as Sumei, but now he sees his name beating on his mobile phone. At the time, the teenager who originally thought he would be insulted at any time, this time I really felt my heart beating instantly. So is it so unpromising? Louis looked at the phone and listened to the ringing of the phone. He bit his lip and finally dialed the access button and pressed the phone to his cheek. What a pair of Mandarin ducks. Man, um, I don't know. I feel like people would call this eating dog food. Hey, are you classmate Lu Yuan? Sumei's voice sounded from the other side of the microphone, honest and simple, as if he were an anchor reporting the noon news. Lu Yuan didn't know what tone of voice he should use to speak to the other party. After all, this is the first official phone call after Tianzhi Cao, I'm assuming that's how it's pronounced, and Sumei got along briefly instead of daily. He knew that Sumei was Sumei, and Sumei also knew that Lu Yuan was Lu Yuan. Therefore, because of this, he was so articulate that he couldn't speak for a long time. Yes, Lu Yuan could only answer such a sentence, which was also a bit blunt. This sound choked Sumei for a long time before she said, I'm Sumei, the girl who met you in the nest of heaven. So is it so strange? Lu Yuan thought in his heart. He originally thought that Sumei would get closer this time. Unexpectedly, it is still like Sumei's style, that is thousands of miles away. On the other side of the phone, Sumei's hands were almost sweating. She didn't expect the other party to pretend that she didn't know herself at all. So she was very angry for a while. Yeah, Lu Yuan calmed his mind. Can I help you? Ding! Sounded. Sumei hung up the phone. Lu Yuan did not know he had done wrong. He looked at the phone innocently. I wondered if I should fight back. On the other side of the phone, Sumei clenched her fist and smashed the table desperately. After 10 seconds of smashing, he grabbed the phone and continued to redial the phone number. I'm sorry, Lu Yuan said directly after answering the phone. At the moment, Sumei wanted to continue hanging up the phone. Should I ask you why you're sorry? Don't you know you went wrong? You don't know you went wrong? You still have the face to say sorry? Such classic lines flashed in Sumei's heart, and the girl instantly had 10,000 grass mud horses galloping in her chest. uh, uh, what is it? 草泥马, which means something. She tried to control her emotions. Sister Xin, it is teacher Seng Xing. Let me ask you where you plan to invite her to dinner. She checked. Recently, many restaurants need to make several reservations. If you're late, you may not be able to wait for a place. Lu Yuan's face was full of question marks in an instant. There is still such a thing? Then he understood why Sumei would call. It was only in this way can Sumei be able to openly know her phone number and call herself on business, not a private matter. Ooh, the plot thickens. I'm gonna skip this because a lot of this is business matters, and I'm not gonna. As interesting as that is, there are some more various character motivations that I'd rather cover instead. So yeah, dang, this is a decently shorter video, even with my slow pace of reading. We're at 14 minutes. Phew. Okay, well, that's another one done. But yeah, so you got some cool relationship, and there's that one quote that I mentioned earlier. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. And then I think the next chapter is chapter 33. Chapter 33? Yes, chapter 33. Oh man, chapter 33, 36, 37, 38, 39, 41. Yeah, okay, man. The next four chapters are gonna be good. Okay, so tired. It's like I read I spent a whole 10 minutes just to read like one paragraph of a quote. Ah. Oh well, just like Lu Yuan and Don Quixote. This is the path I've chosen for myself. Um and pretty willingly, by the way, doing stuff for free. Richard Kiyosaki. Yeah, so yeah, that's it for chapter 23. I don't know why you're still listening.